Our speaker for today is Mike Patel. Mike Patel is a full-time realtor and broker associate with Prudential California Realty. He has served Orange County for the past 15 years and has been in the top 3% of all Prudential agents nationwide. He has owned and operated a Hallmark gift shop and a franchised fresh flower shop. He graduated from UC Irvine with a bachelor's degree in engineering. He is a GRI, a graduate of the Graduate Realtors Institute. He is designated as a certified distressed property expert, which stands for CDPE. Mike is married to Divya Patel. He has a son who works in Irvine and a daughter who goes to Cal State Fullerton. He is very passionate about learning and about self-development. He is also a distinguished Toastmaster and has been an active member of Toastmasters International for the past 15 years. He has served as an area governor and participated and won various speech contests. 2 weeks ago, he was a guest co-presenter for Toastmasters International training at Chapman University on the subject of social media beyond basics. He likes to volunteer, network, play golf, and spend time with family and friends. The one thing you may not know have known about Mike is he has a pilot's license and used to fly as a hobby. Let me hand it over to Mike Patel.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate the introduction. I'm going to talk about myself. That's what I was told to do. So that's what I'm going to do. Instructions. I'm going to briefly talk about my personal issue, or not issue, personal. Talk about my business briefly, and then hopefully tell you why you should refer me or why you want to refer to me. So anyway, let's get back to the personal issues. And I'm going to call it issues so they remember that I have personal issues. So I've always been in sales. Ever since I graduated. I graduated from UC Irvine, as Alex mentioned, and I graduated as an engineer. But my first job was a copier salesperson. So you may ask, well, why would you want to sell a copier? Well, I did not have a green card, so every job that I interviewed wanted a citizenship and a green card. So I had to take this job because they gave me a 1-year extension to stay in the United States. So I took the job, and then a year later, before my visa expired, my dad came over from India and said, okay, next week you're going to meet this girl. She's coming from Oklahoma. You're going to interview her, and if you like her, you're going to marry her. Like I said before, I followed instructions. I interviewed her. I kind of liked her, and I married her. So I have 2 kids, 25 and 21, and a wife, and a lot of bills. So that's my personal stuff. And that's about my personal life, because don't take me there. No,
Nice.
So anyway, about business. Talking about my real estate business, I'm in sales, but I never call myself that I'm in the sales business. I treat my real estate business as a business. I follow a schedule, I follow an agenda. I have a trainer, a coach, a personal coach I've had for 7 years that keeps me on track on my personal schedule, agendas, and my targets or goals. So that's how I treat it. Because I own businesses, I know how to run them, and that's how I run them. This year, my goal is to sell about 25 homes. I've sold 35 homes a year. This year, my goal is to sell 25 homes. And just to put in perspective, an average realtor in California sells about 5 homes. An average realtor nationwide sells about 3 to 4 homes. So that's what my target is, and I hope I'll have your help to do that too. That's part of the reason I'm joining BNI. 60% of my business over the last 5, 6, 7 years has been through referrals. My foundation of my business is referrals, my past clients, and the people that you may know, because I take care of them, I service them. And I'll give you an example. My first transaction was with a kind of friend that I knew. This was back in 1995. He was looking for a business, and he found out that I'm in real estate. So he asked me to find him a business. So being new in the business, I said, sure, I can find you a business. 6 months later, I found him a really nice business, a very good business, very profitable. He really liked my service. After we closed the transactions, and I'll talk about my after-sales program, we became good friends. And to date, 15, 16 years passed, he has referred me through his referrals and his families and friends. I've actually closed 17 transactions for my first time.
Wow.
In fact, last week, I just listed a property of his nephew. It's a business that he wants me to sell, and he doesn't want to use anybody else because I've known him before. And after I sell his business, he also wants to buy another house. So my repeats keep coming.
Wow.
So just want to touch on that, how I run my business. So what do I do in my business? Of course, it's real estate sales. but I'm going to break it down that I work with buyers. I work with buyers in what sense? I work with it in this market, I'm going to call it, I work with the traditional buyers. Traditional buyers is the person who just wants to buy a regular home, doesn't want any REO properties, which is bank-owned properties, doesn't want any distressed properties because they're scared of there's no liabilities or maybe bad conditions. So I work with what we call the traditional buyers. They want to buy a house, close escrow in 30 to 35 days, and move right in. I also work with buyers who want bank-owned properties. These are the ones that want a deal. Everybody wants a deal. If the property is worth $400,000, they want to buy it for $350,000. And I help them find those kind of property too. And I have contacts with banks, asset managers, social short sale managers. So I help them find through those properties. So I also work with what we call the investors. And the investors are the traditional investors who buy maybe just one property, or some investors that have bought 5 or 6 or 7 properties. I've helped some of my friends, they bought 7, 8, 9 properties and they're still working. I also work with sellers. Again, with the sellers, I work with the traditional seller. What's a traditional seller? A traditional seller is somebody who bought a house, wants to move up, so he has to sell this house, or somebody who's been there 30, 40 years in the house, kids are gone, and they want to move down, or get a single-story home, or buy a condo, or go to the beach. So those are the traditional sellers I help. I mean, the buyers that I help. The other buyers, let's see. I also work with investors, as I mentioned. So I've also worked with bank-owned properties, short sales. That's how I work with the buyers and sellers. The other thing that you may want to consider is I not only work with, I just sold a townhouse yesterday and that was valued at $400,000. So I work with the first-time buyers or first-time sellers, as well as the people who have bought their third or fourth home and their values are over $1 million or over $2 million. So I take a big range. Because I work with a lot of people that I know, my range is pretty wide. So you may ask a question, well, why should you use me? Or why should you refer me? But there's several different reasons. There's 4 that I'm going to talk about very briefly. Let me give you some stats quickly. The stats are 50% of all agents go out of business in the first year. 80% of all the agents are out of business in 3 years. And 90% of all the agents are out of business in 5 years. So I've been in business 15 years, so I have a good track record, and I'm not going anywhere. If I sell a house or sell a buyer, they can find me, Google me, find me on Facebook, I'm here to stay. So I provide a great service. The other reason, the other kind of service I provide is that I've developed 4 characteristics in my sales business and my personal life. And those are being reputable, being trustworthy, being friendly, and being skilled. Being skilled. So those are the things you need, and I use that to help with the transactions. Very few of the agents out there have what we call an after-sale program. A lot of people sell the property, take the check, deposit, and they're never to be found. As I said earlier, 80% are gone in 3 years, 50% are gone in the first year. So when I sell a property or when I help clients, I'm here to stay. I have an actual after-sale program. This is a to-do list. When I open an escrow, I have like 100 things I do to close a transaction. But I have a similar checklist to do what I do after I sell the program. I'm in touch with them. Just to give an example, this is a HUD-1 report. It's a statement. So all the homes I sold last year, I'm going to tell all those clients this statement, which shows how much was the house, what was the expenses, what was the commission, all that, so they can give it to the accountant, so they don't have to look for it. But most of them put it away in the file, and they're gone. So this is the part of the service I provide after my check or after the transaction, the after sales program. The other thing, very prominent right now that I do is I'm what I call a tech-savvy agent. I use all the technologies. I use iPhone apps. Like if you want to find a house right now, I can press a button and show you what's around. And I'm going to show you a flyer quickly. Let's see if I have it here. This is a flyer, and I hope you can see it. It's in your folder. If you notice, there is a code over here. Does anybody know what a QR code is? Okay, some of you have heard about it. What you can do with this, and I'll try to demonstrate depending on the time that I have. What the code is if somebody has an app, actually I won't do it because of time constraint, but if somebody sees a code and they get a flyer, and as you know, in this age where we want instant media, instant information, you have an app on your phone, you point it to the code, and the phone will take you to the website through these flyers and pictures and everything.
Wow.
So that's called a QR code, and in real estate, it's coming on very strong in advertising. But the point I'm trying to make is, I'm with the curve, I'm with the technology curve. All the buyers and sellers, they want instant reply, instant messages, instant answers. I'm up to date with it. So if you have clients that are impatient clients or want right away, I'm there. So I can help them with it. So anyway, to conclude, hopefully you got some enough information to refer me or refer to somebody. But this week or this month, I want to focus on a couple of things. One, I want to focus, as I mentioned earlier, being a new year, planning for the new year. If you know personally somebody, friends, family, that is struggling making payments or cannot make the payments because they lost a job or whatever the situation is, have them call me. I'll refer you them to the right resources. And also, because the interest rates are so low, and they say the interest rates are going to be going up pretty soon, if you personally know somebody's been sitting around buying, this is the time to buy. Rates are pretty good. Interest rates may go up springtime because activity is very high in the spring, and the prices are also good. So there's a lot more information to give you. Today, that's all I have to give you. I appreciate your time.